मैम ये जो 2.5 इंच की जीभ होती है ना, इस पे आपकी पूरी काया डिपेंड करती है. Then there is called as a BCA, that is the body composition analysis. That is a very important factor to determine your fat percentage of the body. So do you have a visceral fat? How much visceral fat you have, how much subcutaneous fat you have, what is the distribution of your skeletal muscle and the overall muscle mass, how hydrated your body is. So if we talk about the first thing, that is the carbs are bad. No food is bad. Okay, we need they are macronutrients, that is carbohydrate, proteins and fats, and they are micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. They all are needed for our body. So if we talk about the detox diet, the colon cleanse, colon irrigation, it is not required at all. Our body is incredibly smart. It has its own detoxification system. Doctors की सब सुनते हैं, okay? Patients and their attendants have their fixed mindset, okay? वो भी maximum doctors की सुनेंगे. Nutritionists बीच में आके फंस जाते हैं. So I tell patients to go with the 5 rule, which is very important. And if you are taking those 5 rules all together, you can never go wrong. And 99% there will be no medical issues at all. First is आप क्या खा रहे हैं, that is the quality of your food. Second is कितना खा रहे हैं, that is your portion size. Third is the timing, okay? Then hydration levels, and then is your exercise. If you are taking these 5 things together, you can never ever go wrong. But उसके harmful effects भी हैं. So listen to your gut. What is important? Your body will tell you what is right for you. Okay, don't blindly follow anyone. तो जब आप अच्छा food खाते हो, okay, so you will feel healthy. जब आप हेल्दी फील करोगे तो फिर आप इरिटेटेड क्यों फील करोगे. ओके, दैट्स व्हाई काउंसलिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, कुछ पेशेंट्स होते हैं लिखना शुरू कर देते हैं, सिर्फ लिखो मत. Discussion is more important than लिखना. I need to know what is your lifestyle is. Okay, so मैं पहले दिन ही अगर उसे एक ideal diet chart बना के दे दूँगी, you have to follow it for 100%. No one can do that. और करेंगे भी तो बहुत short period of time के लिए. Fat ही रहेगा. They will give you the same calorie. आपका 1 ग्राम फैट आपको 9 किलो कैलोरी ही देगा, चाहे आप वो किसी भी टाइप के फैट से ले लो, चाहे वो देसी घी है, चाहे वो आपका रिफाइंड ऑयल है, चाहे वो आपका कनोला ऑयल है, ऑलिव ऑयल है, पीनट ऑयल है, सनफ्लावर ऑयल है, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. इफ यू आर यूजिंग ऑलिव ऑयल, इफ यू आर यूजिंग वर्जिन ऑयल्स, ओके, सो हम उसमें कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. जो घर का खाना है, नो वन कैन बीट दैट.
हेलो एवरीबॉडी, वेलकम टू टॉकिंग थ्रू फूड, health, nutrition. We are always worried about this. Today we have welcomed Dr. Ambica Sharma, who is a clinical nutritionist, and she'll help us decode a lot of things today. Welcome, Dr. Ambica. Thank you for being on Talking Through. It's a pleasure being with you here. I just wanted to ask you that, why did you choose to be a nutritionist?
Thanks for having me here. So being a clinical nutritionist was not decided. So actually I accidentally got exposed to this nutrition field. So like 25 years back, there was no such concept of nutritionist or dietitian, or maybe it would be just be there in the hospitals. People don't know much about it. So even I didn't have much of an idea about it. But when I started my career with graduation in nutrition, I actually found it very interesting. And then it developed my curiosity of how food is actually impacting the human body, not just physically. It has a holistic approach. So it is emotionally, mentally, physically, and even socially. So it has a great impact on a human body, treating the diseases, healing them, making them feel happy. Okay, so that's how I entered to this field. And then with different hospitals, working with different hospitals, working with multidisciplinary fields, along with the doctors, when you see a lot of complex cases, medical cases, dealing patients in the ICUs with the patients which have lifestyle disorders, maybe cancer, it could be diabetes, it could be a cardiac issue. Okay, you get to know how actually food is helpful in treating, and not just the medication. Ultimately, no one wants to be on a medication and you want to put off the patient to the medication. Even doctors don't want that in that scenario. So food plays a major role over there. Okay, and now with beauty and wellness field, definitely it has a different space. So I am actually working for skill development over here, and how you can bring wellness into the everyday life.
Right.
So it's a shift from treatment to empowerment.
Nice. I think it's a natural, movement for any professional. And thank you for sharing your journey. So you've worked with a lot of hospitals like Fortis and Medanta. And for a nutritionist, their relationship is with the doctor and also the patients, right? And also people who are with the patient, the families, right? So how does a nutritionist manage this relationship?
It's quite a challenging role. Doctors की सब सुनते हैं, okay? Patients and their attendants have their fixed mindset, okay? वो भी maximum doctors की सुनेंगे. Nutritionists बीच में आके फंस जाते हैं, okay? Now the things are changing a lot. Actually, doctors पहले तो doctors ही nutritionist हुआ करते थे. जो भी वो बता देंगे, patient को वही follow करना है, and then to shift patient from that, it's very difficult for a nutritionist. So nutritionist has to be a very good counselor also. Okay, so seeing the medical report of a patient, okay, first you have to deal with the doctor. You need to actually discuss with the doctor what they have actually counseled the patient for, or things like that, and then you counsel the patient. Okay, so whenever I take a first consultation, I always tell patients I need an hour of yours for the first consultation, because diet plan to Google se bhi mil jayega, AI se bhi mil jayega. Okay, it's all about how you are following. The consistency is important. Okay, how we can change your daily lifestyle. So it's a very gradual process. It's not a one-time thing. So changing a person's habits, okay, their lifestyle, which has been there for ages and which is actually passing on as a tradition, it's a bit challenging to change.
Right. And while you are, working with patients to changing their lifestyles or their food habits or their daily routines, what are a couple of challenges that are very common across the board, especially in India?
These days, there's too much of information. Okay, so that is one thing. To separate science from the noise, it's very important. So that is one thing that's challenging. So there are certain challenges that are there, are certain misconceptions or myth that is there. So to name a few, first is carbs are bad. Okay, fats are bad. Superfoods, or we can say expensive foods, or the fancy foods we talk about, they are healthier. Okay, so these are few things which are very difficult for a patient to come out of it. Okay, because they have been learning it through so many sources. Okay, so if we talk about the first thing, that is the carbs are bad. No food is bad. Okay, we need they are macronutrients, that is carbohydrate, proteins, and fats, and they are micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals. They all are needed for our body. Okay, for the basic functioning of the body, you need this. Okay, so if you're talking about carbs, it has to be a complex carbohydrate, means with lots of fibers in it. Then it is not bad. 50% of your body needs carbs. 40 to 50% you need it. Okay, otherwise your body will not work the way it has to work. If we talk about proteins, everyone knows proteins are the building blocks. Okay, so excluding protein is not a good thing. So most of the kidney patients, they have a notion that we should not, if the creatinine is high, you should not eat proteins, or if the uric acid is high, you should not eat proteins. It doesn't go that way. Okay, right. Protein required for healing also. Fats, again, a very important thing. So 20 to 25% you need fats. So they are the insulating layer. Even the micronutrients like vitamin A, D, and K, which are fat soluble vitamins, they are required for the absorption of the fat. If the fat is less present, definitely the absorption is better in it.
Right. And these macronutrients and everything else, that vitamins and minerals that you spoke about, ये पता कैसे चलता है patients के लिए कि किसको कितना चाहिए? Like, because every individual is different, their weight is different, their height, everything is different. Then how does a nutritionist decipher इसको कितना क्या चाहिए?
Medical reports.
Okay.
So they are very important aspect. Okay. So anyone who doesn't know what is going inside your body and giving you a generalized plan, it doesn't work at all. Okay. It is nothing like one size fits all.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So it has to be a tailored made. So medical reports definitely is important. Then as you said, height, weight, the cultural background, there's lifestyle, that is important. Okay. Then there is called as a BCA, that is the body composition analysis. That is a very important factor to determine your fat percentage of the body. So do you have a visceral fat? How much visceral fat you have? How much subcutaneous fat you have? What is the distribution of your skeletal muscle and the overall muscle mass? How hydrated your body is? These things are very important, okay, to take in before actually planning a diet for a patient.
Right, right. And in India and generally also, लोगों के दिमाग में होता है कि न्यूट्रिशन का मतलब है डाइटिंग, कम खाओ, right? So I'm sure that's not the only thing, right? So how does the diet plan work for an individual?
Okay, so of course, na khana doesn't work, otherwise your body will not function.
Right.
So you need food. Okay, so that's what I've told you. There's a challenge or there's a misinformation. Excluding a food group would help you. Of course, it will not help you. Okay, so I tell patients to go with the 5 rule, which is very important. And if you are taking those 5 rules all together, you can never go wrong. And 99% there will be no medical issues at it. First is आप क्या खा रहे हैं, that is the quality of your food. Second is कितना खा रहे हैं, that is your portion size. Third is the timing, okay, then hydration levels, and then is your exercise. If you are taking these 5 things together, you can never ever go wrong. So for taking 5 things together doesn't mean कि आप normal culture या normal life enjoy नहीं कर सकते. It doesn't have to be a special food. Normal आपके किचन में जो दाल रोटी सब्जी है ना, उसी से ही आपका काम हो जाता है. Okay, but you just have to be mindful of what you are eating.
Okay, and how do you cook? Is that also important?
Of course. Okay, so Indian diet is good. Okay, but होता क्या है, आप चिकन टिक्का खा रहे हो या उसे बहुत सारा ग्रेवी और फैट में बना दोगे, सो ऑब्वियसली उसका न्यूट्रिशनल कंटेंट तो सारा चला गया, इट्स जस्ट द फैट दैट यू आर ईटिंग. ओके, सिमिलरली आपका घर का जो नॉर्मल खाना भी बन रहा है, अगर उसमें आप बहुत ज्यादा एक्सेस सॉल्ट, एक्सेस मसाले या एक्सेस ऑफ फैट यू आर यूजिंग इट, ऑफ कोर्स यू आर डिटोरेटिंग द न्यूट्रिशनल कंटेंट ऑफ इट. सो जो भी आप खा रहे हो उसे न्यूट्रिशन कम मिल रहा है पे और आपको फैट्स ज्यादा मिल रहे हैं.
एंड इन अ जनरल Indian household, what are some of the things like you tell people to keep it in your kitchen, like eat these things, and couple of things you think no, not at all, don't have these things?
Look, there is nothing what I tell people to keep in their kitchen. Okay, anything which is fresh, locally grown, according to your weather, have everything. Okay. Medical cases, if some has some issues, that's a different scenario. But otherwise, okay, if you're eating just the normal food, what is traditionally cooked in your food, that is the best thing you can do. One thing, sugars.
Right.
I never support sugars. Okay, fat definitely in a prescribed quantity. Don't overdo on fats, but fats are important. But sugars, they are the typical example of junk food. They are not required at all.
Right.
So this is one thing. So sugar, it could be sugar as in the form of sugar. या कोई अगर कहता है कि मैं हनी खा रहा हूँ, खांड ले रहा हूँ, या मैं गुड़ खा रहा हूँ, ये सब एक ही कहते हैं एक ही थाली के चट्टे बट्टे टाइप्स हैं. तो देयर इज नो डिफरेंस. कुछ ट्रेस एलिमेंट्स होंगे जो हनी में आपको शायद बेटर मिल सकते हैं, गुड़ में बेटर मिल सकते हैं, बट अल्टीमेटली इट्स डूइंग सेम विद योर ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स, इट्स डूइंग सेम विद योर बॉडी.
Right. So since you mentioned glycemic index, and that was my next question, can you explain this concept a little bit?
Okay, so for a layman, glycemic index, okay, whenever you eat some food, okay, so एक खाना कोई भी एक अगर आपने एप्पल खाया, तो उस एप्पल को खाने के बाद आपका ब्लड शुगर में कितना स्पाइक आ रहा है, दैट इज द ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स. दैट हाउ वी कैन कैलकुलेट द ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स ऑफ अ फूड. ओके, सो कुछ खाने के बाद वो एकदम से राइज हो सकता है, सो द ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स ऑफ द फूड इज हायर. कुछ खाना ऐसा हो सकता है कि आपने खाया और उससे आपका एकदम से इतना स्पाइक बढ़ेगा तो है जब भी आप खाएंगे, बट वो स्पाइक नहीं होगा. सो द फूड प्रोडक्ट्स दे हैव अ लो ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स.
Right. Okay. And these days we have these lot of fads, like detox, and cleansing juices and keto, right? Can you tell us a little bit about this, like what works and what doesn't work?
That's a very crucial question.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we talk about the detox diet, the colon cleanse, colon irrigation, it is not required at all. Our body is incredibly smart. It has its own detoxification system. Our liver, our kidneys, even in the case our skin, they are continuously doing the detoxification process until and unless you overload your body with it. So we are passing our motion, we are urinating, we are sweating. So it's a form of detoxification process. So you don't actually have to go for a special detoxification in any sense. Some people go for colonic irrigation. It can more harm you. Okay, so any detoxification process will only dehydrate your body. It will not help you lose your fat percentage, which is the major culprit with the fat, the visceral fat, which is around the organs. Okay, if it's there, that is the major underlying issue of your medical problem, not your water content. Okay, so these are just the facts. So I would not recommend anyone to go for any detox process. Once in a while, if someone wants to go, yes, they can reset their gut, they can do it. But again, just I have told you, nothing is like one person. It's not everyone's thing. So if a person is not feeling comfortable, you are feeling irritated, you are not in a good mood following a detox process, don't go for it. That is, it is not meant for you at all.
Right. You mentioned sugar, right? And everybody has this notion that they're addicted to sugar, like people who consume it a lot, right? For example, you don't have sugar at all during the day or anything sweet, but after you've eaten something, you want something sweet, right? So are these really cravings, or there is a biology behind it, or it's just in your mind,
Okay, so at what time you had your breakfast in the morning?
I had it like, I think 7 a.m. today.
7 a.m.
Yeah.
Then did you eat something till now?
Yeah, I did eat. Something like,
Supposing you had breakfast at 7 a.m. or most of the people, they skip their breakfast, okay? Or in general, if we talk about, so if you're not having your breakfast or any food for more than 5 hours, then what is the first thing that will come into your mind when you're hungry? You crave for sugar. मीठा मिल जाए. First thing, अगर आपके सामने खाना भी रखा होगा, मीठा होगा, first thing आप मीठा खाओगे. Okay? So there is nothing कि आपको addiction होता है. It's all in your mind. If you're having your meals at the proper timing, if you're having a wholesome meal, which is a well-nourished plate you are eating, you will not crave for sugars at all.
Right.
Okay. So जब वो blood sugar down ही नहीं होगा बहुत देर खाने से, जो आपने बहुत देर नहीं खाया है, तो ब्लड शुगर डाउन ही नहीं होगा, तो फिर आपको मीठे की क्रेविंग ही नहीं होगी. बॉडी इज डिमांडिंग फूड, यू आर नॉट गिविंग दैट द थिंग टू योर बॉडी. तो क्विक फिक्स जो होता है, वो चाहे बॉडी का हो या आपका हो, आपका इमोशनल ईटिंग भी आप उसे बोल सकते हो, दैट इज शुगर.
एंड आई डोंट वांट टू बी प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव फॉर एनीबॉडी, बट व्हाट डू यू रिकमेंड? अगर मीठा खाना ही हो, पसंद ही है आपको और आप इसे छोड़ना नहीं चाहते हैं, तो क्या चीजें खानी चाहिए जनरली?
Look, if a patient is diabetic, so I will always tell a patient, क्योंकि एक वो हैबिट और कल्चर बन गया है कि खाने के बाद मीठा खाना है. हमारी बॉडी हर चीज तो वो ग्लूकोज में चेंज हो जाती है, तो शुगर की जरूरत ही नहीं है. बट स्टिल अगर ये कॉन्सेप्ट है, तो आई टेल देम कि आप कर्ड में थोड़ा सा फ्रूट्स काट के आप वो खा लो, सो दैट वुड बी अ नेचुरल डेजर्ट काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग. ओके, तो वैसे तो अगर आपका पेट फुल है और आप किसी अच्छे रेस्टोरेंट में भी गए एंड इफ यू आर फुल, कोई लाके मीठा रख देगा, either you'll have a small bite or you'll say कि नहीं मुझे नहीं खाना, आई एम ऑलरेडी फुल. ओके, दैट इज हाउ इट वर्क्स. बट अगर आपका है कि आपको खाना ही है, सो दिस इज वन ऑप्शन दैट यू कैन टेक. अदरवाइज इफ अ पर्सन इज नॉट डायबिटिक, सो आई विल से कि ठीक है, आप हनी या गुड़, if it's an organic one, organic means you need to know the source of it, okay, and then you can have a small quantity, 1/2 to 1 teaspoon a day. It would not do much wrong with you, but I would recommend just stay away from it.
And you also spoke about hydration. So is water enough for hydration, or a human body in a summer scorching heat like we have right now needs more?
Water is enough. Okay. But at times when you are losing a lot of sweat, So with the sweat, you are losing your sodium, your electrolytes also. So maintain that electrolyte balance. Definitely you can opt for some lemon water, no sodas of course. Okay, so just a lemon water with a pinch of salt, or you can have buttermilk, or you can have coconut water. These are the best replacement. But otherwise, if you are okay, I mean, we all sit in an AC environment, we hardly sweat these days.
Right.
Okay, then water is enough.
Right. Okay. And for a regular person, like, how much water is enough in a day?
So it depends on person to person, person's weight, and it depends. It's gender variant also.
Yeah,
Okay, but generally we tell, okay, you can have 3 to 4 liters of water a day. That's a standardized thing. Rest, it depends on person to person. A person can have some other related issues also, medical issues, where we have to restrict water. So that's a different story altogether. But 3 to 4 liters is fine.
Right. And you also mentioned about gender. So is nutrition starkly different for men and women, or?
Not starkly, but definitely the calorie requirement, the protein requirements varies a bit for male and females, okay, because of their body composition. Okay, so if there is a female person, she can have slightly more of the fat percentage in the body rather than the male person. Okay, because they have more subcutaneous fat. So definitely, a male person has more of muscle mass. Okay, so the calorie requirement will be slightly different. And apart from that, it also depends on the activity level. So if it's a sports person, definitely they need more. If it's a sedentary lifestyle, okay, they don't need more. So if we talk about females, so between 1600 to 1800 kilocalories for a normal adult is fine. And for male, somewhere around 2000 to 2200 kilocalories is perfectly fine.
Right. And for people like who have an underlying disease or have a family history of, say, diabetes or high blood pressure, cardiac issues, say PCOS, so for them, how do you recommend they treat nutrition, or like, can it like help them, recover faster or avoid that thing?
Okay, so there are two things. If a person is fine right now and the medical report says ki, yeah, everything is perfectly fine, you have no issues, but you have a medical history. So whenever a nutritionist is taking a medical history, you have to take a medical history before planning the diet, and you have to see a medical reports. So if it's fine, so definitely you need to tell a patient or an individual ki there are chances, because you have a strong medical history. So better to start early. Okay, better to have a good nutrition early rather than later you are seeing that they are in your blood reports. Okay, but if a person is already diabetic or already have a cardiac issues, things like that, then definitely you need to plan the diet accordingly. So a general thing is, of course, it depends from person to person, but a general diet, if we take a heading for it, so it will be a more of fibers. Okay, optimal protein. Okay, optimal carbohydrate.
Right. Okay. And what about exercise? When somebody starts to exercise a little, say if somebody who doesn't exercise at all starts to exercise, and then they start doing more, so does their nutritional requirement change, or the nutrition could be the same and they can keep working out like that?
Exercising, or a person who is overweight, when they start exercising, his calorie requirement changes according to the weight loss. So weight loss again should not be the weight loss from the muscle and from the water. It has to be from the fat only.
Right.
Okay, most of the people, they don't actually check how the weight loss is going. Okay, they are more happy with the 5 kgs or 10 kgs of weight loss, but they don't actually see is their muscle mass is going down and not their fat percentage. And that's how the plateau stage comes earlier to them. Okay, rather a person who is on a sustainable diet. So a person has to lose weight. You don't actually change calorie requirement a lot, but when it's an athlete or a sports person, okay, and person was already not weighing a lot, then definitely it has to be changed according to their weight loss.
Okay. And you spoke about plateauing, right? So whenever people are trying to lose weight, they tend to have some good weight loss in the initial stages, and then they get to a weight and they just plateau there for a while. So scientifically speaking, how does that really happen? Why does that really happen?
Okay, so look what happens when you lose weight. Okay, so it is a normal mechanism of the body कि ठीक है शुरू में हो रहा है, शुरू में थोड़ा जल्दी होगा and then it goes on a slow pace. Okay, और फिर एक stuck weight आता है. Okay, and वो थोड़ा सा आपको हिलाना मुश्किल होता है. But when a person is already falling, जो उन्होंने initially से एक sustainable diet plan, एक healthy diet plan नहीं follow किया है, and they are into a fat diets, तो वो शुरू में बहुत ज़्यादा जल्दी weight lose होता है, which is not healthy. उससे आपकी डेफिशिएंसीज भी होती हैं और उससे स्टक पॉइंट भी आपका जल्दी आता है. सो आइडियली व्हेन वी से कि वी यूज फैट डाइट्स, ओके, तो हम फैट डाइट्स शायद उस टाइम पे हम यूज कर सकते हैं जब उनका प्लेट्यू स्टेज आए, जस्ट टू कंफ्यूज द बॉडी और थोड़ा सा उसे एनहांस करने के लिए फॉर अ वेरी शॉर्टर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. लेकिन जो इंसान शुरू से ही कर रहा है कि तो उसका तो प्लेट्यू जल्दी आएगा ही आएगा, प्लस दे हैव लॉट ऑफ डेफिशिएंसीज के एंड मूड स्विंग्स होना और विटामिन B12 कम होना, माइक्रो एंड इवन मैक्रो न्यूट्रिएंट्स उनके बहुत ज्यादा कम हो जाते हैं.
एंड देन यू स्पोक अबाउट डेफिशिएंसीज, say vitamin B12 deficiencies or vitamin D deficiency. How does the body signal you कि ऐसी कोई deficiency है?
Okay, so आजकल तो ये बहुत कॉमन है. We are hardly going out in the sun if we talk about vitamin D deficiencies. और अब थोड़ा सा हमारा मॉडिफिकेशन भी इस तरीके से हो गया है कि हमारा वो उतना उस हिसाब से प्रोसेस भी नहीं होता. अगेन वी रिक्वायर मोर ऑफ कैल्शियम, जो कि हम लोग बहुत अच्छे से लेते नहीं है फॉर प्रोसेसिंग द विटामिन डी. एंड सेम विद विटामिन B12, इफ यू आर अ वेजिटेरियन एंड यू आर नॉट प्लान्ड योर डाइट प्रॉपर्ली, तो आपका विटामिन B12 भी थोड़ा सा कम रेंज में ही रहेगा. सो इफ यू फाइंड लाइक यू हैव एन इरिटेबल मूड, okay, you are very lethargic, you are fatigued, you are easily tired, okay, and maybe at times some cardiac issues could be because of that, then you can actually go and check with for your vitamin B12 levels.
Okay. And a lot of supplements are also out there in the market these days, right? A lot of things. If you go to a chemist shop, you'll see more supplements than medicines these days, right? So are these really necessary all the time, or it depends on the need of a person?
So which supplements you're talking about? It's like the vitamin D, B12 or the protein supplements?
Say protein supplements, and then you have these vitamin B12s, vitamin Ds, energy shots and all of those things. So are they really necessary, or?
Look, if you talk about just vitamin D and B12 supplements, of course, if it's your vitamin levels are very low, definitely initially doctor will tell you sorry, to have these supplements, and that is required, okay, to make up till that, क्योंकि diet से आपको उतना नहीं मिलेगा ये, okay, and when it is like within the normal range, normal levels, then definitely you can maintain it with the diet also. But if we talk about protein supplements, I think it's more of a marketing gimmick. One should not go for it until there's a grave need of it. Okay, there are certain medical issues जहाँ पे आपको ज़रूरत पड़ सकती है, but otherwise for a normal individual it is not required at all. Be it kids or be it adults. Even for the kids, there are so many good brands. They have sugars in it. Okay, अगर घर का खाना से भी आराम से आप मैनेज कर सकते हो अपना प्रोटीन, you don't need. I mean, I think it is just एक बहाना है that you cannot eat a healthy food, so you're taking your supplements.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's actually not supplementing from the natural your natural food.
Right.
And moreover, it is actually not actually digested and absorbed properly. It is like overloading your kidney and liver.
And then you were talking about these protein supplements, no, just now, and can you tell us like how it really impacts your body?
Okay, so I'll tell you a case. Okay, so there was an international patient, okay, who came to me when he was just 25 years old. Okay, and he has compromised kidneys. यहाँ तक नौबत आ गई थी that he has to be on the dialysis. Okay, and he was an Arabian patient. So वहाँ का तो they have good muscle mass, they have better metabolizing capacity than we Indians have. That is genetic in them. Still it was so compromised. Okay, so when you're a dietitian, so it is more about counseling and more about building a rapport with a patient rather than just seeing the medical reports and sending him with a diet plan. So they will never follow, it will go into the file. Okay, so you have to change that accordingly. So I was just discussing with him, so he showed me a picture when he was 19 years old. I wasn't able to recognize him. He was in the modeling field. Okay, he was modeling that time, and just because क्योंकि आजकल होता है, you go to the gym and you have to become model, you have to have more of muscle mass, especially in youngsters. So he started taking the supplements, the protein supplements, or within 2 years he landed up having kidney and liver disease together. अब career तो खैर बचा ही नहीं. Okay, and he was on dialysis. So it's very sad looking at to the youngsters. If we talk about, there is a brand, okay, जिसमें बहुत claim किया जाता है for a weight loss. Okay, I have so many patients from that brand. They coming over after few months. कि चाहे वो aged हो, चाहे वो middle age में हो, even बच्चे of 16 to 17 years if they have a, क्योंकि आजकल सब बहुत conscious हैं how they are looking out. Their body image is very important for everyone. Okay, और सबको quick fix चाहिए. So there is no quick fix in the nutrition field. You have to work hard for your body. Okay. So they are taking those things. They have reduced their weight, but their uric acid levels are very high. And the first thing is the kidney and your liver get compromised.
And why does that happen? Sorry.
Because of the overloading of the protein, your body isn't able to metabolize it. Okay, आप ले तो रहे हो. Okay, but look, if I have the, can I use it?
Yeah.
If I have this bottle, okay, so supposing this is my body. At one time, इसमें ये कितना होगा?
250 ml, 200 ml.
250 ml, 200 ml जितना भी है, इसमें इतना ही पानी आएगा, राइट? तो मैं जब इसे खत्म कर लूंगी तभी इसमें जगह बचेगी. तो आप एक टाइम पे इससे ज्यादा, इसके ऊपर अगर आप एक और बॉक्स रख लोगे, इससे ज्यादा आप इसमें भरोगे तो क्या होगा? इट गेट डिपॉजिटेड, इट विल पुट overloading on your kidney and on your liver and other organs to work harder. So they age fast and definitely इतना metabolize नहीं कर पाते हैं. So they'll end up having these issues.
Right. And these days, we hear a lot about lactose intolerances and celiac disease. Can you explain us a little bit about these two things?
So at times lactose intolerance is there, it's genuinely there, but most of the times people confuse that with the overlapping symptoms. Okay, so first thing is you don't have to self-analyze, okay, और अपने आप disease को नाम नहीं देना है. You have to go with a proper procedure and with the doctors you have to consult to know they actually are lactose intolerant or not. So what happens in lactose intolerance? Isn't able to process, your body isn't able to metabolize the lactose, which is in milk. Okay. So you might get some bloating or some other issues like acidity, gastritis, nausea. Okay. But there are people who, with the overlapping symptoms, they don't have lactose intolerance. Maybe they can have just milk in the morning, plain milk. They have those issues. But if they have it with dalia, they are comfortable eating it. So then there is no lactose intolerance. Lactose intolerance का कोई major harm नहीं होता है because we can easily, you can have curd instead. Curd हो जाता है तो आप वो आराम से खा सकते हो. So your body is able to digest it. That is not an issue. If we talk about celiac disease, it's an autoimmune disorder. Okay, so autoimmune is something जिसका कोई as such कोई हमें reason पता नहीं चलता है. Okay, it is there. Either it could be genetic or it has been developed over the period of time or since childhood. जब आपको celiac disease होता है, so majorly you are allergic to gluten. Gluten, which is the protein which is there in wheat, rye and barley. Okay. तो जब आप वो चीजें खाते हो, so your body is allergic. Okay, it is not responding the way it has to respond, and then you have serious issues. So when you are on a gluten-free diet, because you have a celiac disease, that is apt. You should follow it. But these days, everyone is following a gluten-free diet. Okay. That is not right, because when you are on a gluten-free diet, there are maximum micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. Okay, you're not getting enough of it. So you'll end up having deficiencies. What happens for a weight loss? Majorly people go for a gluten-free diet. So वो initially weight loss और वो सब अच्छा इसलिए लगता है because when you're on a gluten-free diet, you're off of most of the processed foods. क्योंकि जितने भी processed foods हैं market में, they all have gluten. Okay. So when you're off of processed foods, definitely you feel better. Okay, but for a longer term, it is not advisable.
It's not advisable. And another thing which is very popular these days is intermittent fasting. So can you tell us about it a little bit more? Is it good,
intermittent
bad?
Fasting? No, it's nothing like good or bad in it. Definitely you can go for intermittent fasting if you can go it forever. If it's sustainable, do that. But just following it as a trend doesn't suit you. Okay, it won't suit you. So it may suit me, it would not suit you. Okay, I cannot be hungry for more than 2.5 to 3 hours. That is how my body works. You can be hungry for 4 hours. That is how your body works with it. Okay, so if I am doing intermittent fasting, I'll end up having migraine.
Okay.
I'll end up having mood swings. I'll be very irritable. I'll be very weak and fatigued. So my body indication is this is not for you. Don't go for it. Okay, you are comfortable. You have had your dinner at 6 p.m. and then you are having your breakfast at 11 or breakfast or combined breakfast in mid-morning 11. You are comfortable with it. You can go with it. But what happens? People do that for a shorter period of time just to have a focus of reducing weight or any of their agenda, whatever it is, and then they immediately start having their previous lifestyle. Okay, then they bounce back on their weight.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay, so if it is sustainable for you, okay, so there are certain communities, for example, the Jain communities, okay, they eat early. Okay, if you can do that, if it's there in your culture, continue with it. But intermittent fasting में भी लोग क्या करते हैं? They're eating late at night, okay, and then they are having their directly their lunch, okay. और वो जो window होती है ना 8 hours की, they are just making up with the calories. They are not focused on the nourishment. They are making up with the calories. चाहे वो processed food हो, junk food हो, जो मिलता है वो खाते हैं. So it doesn't work that way. So you have to finish your dinner early, means by 6 to 7 p.m. and accordingly you can have a window of 14 to 16 hours and then you can start having your food. And you have to utilize that time period, the window where you can eat food, okay, to the maximum. You have to make up for all your micronutrients in that window.
Right. And I want to stay on this topic a little bit and ask you about the mindset of the people who are, moving towards a better nutrition diet, right? Or people who are trying to be more mindful of what they're doing, right? But that's all. That also means breaking a habit. आप अपने जीने का तरीका थोड़ा बदल रहे हैं ना? So people do it for few days very successfully and then they again kind of fall off the radar, right? तो ऐसा क्यों होता है? And ऐसा ना हो इसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए?
Okay, so ऐसा इसलिए होता है और बहुत ज़्यादा होता है because everyone is in a hurry. Okay, they want shortcuts, and shortcut doesn't work for your body. Okay, you have to give time to your body. मेडिसिन नहीं है कि आपने एक पिल दे दी या आपने कोई सुपर फूड खा लिया या आपने कोई बहुत एक्सपेंसिव फैंसी फूड मंगा के खा लिया and then you are fine. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, you have to give your body to adapt, to detoxify it and to adapt to the new taste bud and the new lifestyle. Okay? So initially आपको बहुत जोश होता है करने का कि नहीं मुझे तो ऐसा करना ही है, अब मेरे रिपोर्ट्स ऐसा आ गए हैं and I have to do it. Okay, so आप शुरू में आप फॉलो करना शुरू करोगे, then it will be like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. उसके बाद इतना तो हो गया ना, ठीक है ना, सो आगे का हम देख लेंगे. नाउ आई विल टेक अ ब्रेक, क्योंकि वो सस्टेनेबल नहीं है. एनीथिंग विच इज नॉट सस्टेनेबल आप उसे बहुत जल्दी ब्रेक करोगे. इफ इट्स सस्टेनेबल, सो व्हेनेवर अ पेशेंट कम्स टू अस, okay, and we are discussing the diet or any nutritionist, okay, that's why counseling is very important. Okay, कुछ पेशेंट्स होते हैं लिखना शुरू करते हैं. I said लिखो मत, Discussion is more important than लिखना. I need to know what is your lifestyle is. Okay, so मैं पहले दिन ही अगर उसे एक ideal diet chart बना के दे दूंगी, you have to follow it for 100%. No one can do that. और करेंगे भी तो बहुत short period of time के लिए. So जो भी उनका lifestyle है, we need to make certain changes. Okay, we need to maybe start with 5 to 10% of it. And you won't believe with 5 to 10% they can see the results. Okay, क्योंकि body जो wait कर रही है कि कुछ तो अच्छा हो मेरे साथ, और जैसे ही कुछ 5 to 10% अच्छा होने लगता है, it start working that ways. Okay, so food is not just a fuel, it's an information. आप जो भी खाओगे, कि your body will decode और वो उसी तरीके से reflect करेगा. Okay, तो जब वो खाने लगते हैं तो उनको तो it is a very gradual process. तो आप अपना lifestyle जब आप gradually change करते हो, so within 2 weeks or 3 weeks it becomes your habit. और उसके बाद क्या होता है जब आप ग्रेजुअल प्रोसेस से करते हो ना, सो आफ्टर 1 month और 2 months अगर आप उन्हें बोल देते हो ना कि ठीक है उन्हें किसी पार्टी में जाना है, एंड यू कैन, दे विल कम, यू नो व्हाट, मुझसे खाया ही नहीं गया. पहले मैं 2 भटूरे खा लेता था, अब मुझे आधे भटूरे में ही लग रहा था कि हो गया, आई डोंट नीड इट. सो दैट्स हाउ चेंजिंग इट ग्रेजुअली. सो दिस इज कंसिस्टेंसी, सस्टेनेबिलिटी. ये इनका लाइफस्टाइल चेंज करना इंपॉर्टेंट है. वेट अपने आप हो जाएगा, फैट अपने आप चला जाएगा. यू हैव टू चेंज द लाइफस्टाइल. सो दैट इज हाउ इट वर्क्स.
Right. And you know, I just want to also ask you about the way of cooking when you're cooking at home, of course. A lot of Indian food is fried, heavy on curries, and we use a lot of different kinds of oils, right? And you know, and then there is this thing कि आपको healthy oil चाहिए तो आप olive oil लेना शुरू कर दो and stuff like that. So like how do you, can you explain us a little bit about the different kind of oils that we use, what to use, what not to?
So it's very important if person follows it. Okay, क्योंकि घर में नहीं हो पाता है. It's very difficult to counsel the patient for that. Okay, क्योंकि अभी क्या हो गया है, if we are using olive oil, if we are using virgin oils, okay, so हम उसमें कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. फैट ही रहेगा. They will give you the same calorie. आपका 1 ग्राम फैट आपको 9 किलो कैलोरी ही देगा, चाहे आप वो किसी भी टाइप के फैट से ले लो, चाहे वो देसी घी है, चाहे वो आपका रिफाइंड ऑयल है, चाहे वो आपका कनोला ऑयल है, ऑलिव ऑयल है, पीनट ऑयल है, सनफ्लावर ऑयल है, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. एवरी फैट हैज इट्स ओन न्यूट्रिशनल वैल्यू. So you can always keep on changing the type of oil you are using. That's why what I suggest. But the quantity, you have to be mindful of the quantity. Moderation is the key. Okay. अगर आप पानी भी ज्यादा लोगे ना, that is harmful for your body. Right. It will wash up all the essential nutrients from your body. Okay. So mindful eating is important. Okay. So generally अगर किसी को कार्डियक इश्यू होता है तो हम बोलते हैं 2 से 3 छोटी चम्मच तक फैट ले सकते हो. 1 चम्मच करीबन 5 ग्राम के हिसाब से होती है. और अगर कोई एक नॉर्मल इंडिविजुअल है तो डिपेंडिंग अपॉन क्या वेट है उसका क्या लाइफस्टाइल है, 4 to 5 टीस्पून, उससे ज्यादा 4 टीस्पून एट दी मैक्स हम बोलते हैं, बट स्टिल थोड़ा सा चेंज करते करते वो पहले इनिशियली 5 भी कर सकते हैं, जिसका बहुत ज्यादा होता है. इंडियन कुकिंग में कहीं नहीं लिखा है कि फैट होना चाहिए या आपको खाना फ्राइड ही बनाना चाहिए. ये कहीं नहीं लिखा हुआ है. इट्स जस्ट द टेस्ट. So I remember talking to one yoga expert. So we were in conversation. So बातों बातों में उन्होंने मुझे बोला, मैम ये जो 2.5 इंच की जीभ होती है ना, इस पे आपकी पूरी काया डिपेंड करती है. So whatever you are putting in, के आपकी बॉडी आपको वैसा ही रिस्पॉन्ड करेगी. Okay, so obviously it's a die-hard need in Indian because we have a very good culture, we have very good food options. Okay, that's a wholesome food. हमें कहीं जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, हमें कोई फैंसी फूड्स बाहर से कुछ खाने की जरूरत नहीं है. हमारा खुद का इतना अच्छा फूड है, सब कुछ है. बट द वे वी प्रिपेयर, वी डिस्ट्रॉय द न्यूट्रिएंट्स एंड वी जस्ट फोकस ऑन कार्ब्स एंड फैट्स. वी आर ईटिंग टू मच ऑफ कार्ब्स एंड टू मच ऑफ फैट्स.
Right. And because you spoke about, we have so much variety in food. Like in the north, there is a different kind of food that we have. In the south, we have like dosas and idlis, which are all made of rice. In the west, it's different. It's northeast, it's different, right? So obviously, everybody is eating different kinds of things across the board. But how is this variety so suitable for the entire population? कि अगर कोई नॉर्थ में रह रहा है, अगर वो साउथ इंडियन बेस्ड डाइट खा रहा है, तो इज इट हेल्दी? क्या उससे कोई फर्क पड़ता है?
इट्स परफेक्टली फाइन. ओके, डेफिनेटली जो आपका वेदर है, आप जिस स्टेट में रहते हैं उसका वेदर जिस तरीके से है, वहाँ पे लोकली ग्रोन फूड जो है वो उसके हिसाब से होता है. योर बॉडी विल रिस्पॉन्ड टू दैट. ओके, अब आपको मैं किसी हिल स्टेशन पे और स्नो में भेज दूं और मैं आपको बोलूं कि वहाँ पे जाके आइसक्रीम आप खाओ, ओके, यू कैन ईट, ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको कुछ हार्म हो जाएगा. और मैं आपको बोलूं कि आप वहाँ पे एक सूप पियो, सो यू फील मोर कंफर्टेबल drinking a soup in that cold weather rather than eating the ice cream. Okay, so that is how it is. आप जिस जगह रह रहे हो वहाँ के टेम्परेचर के हिसाब से वहाँ के जो लोकली ग्रोन या लोकली कल्चर फूड्स है और दे आर बेनिफिशियल फॉर यू. बट ऐसा नहीं है कि आप यहाँ पर हो तो आप साउथ इंडियन नहीं खाओगे या आपको वो हार्म करेगा. Nothing like that. Okay, just you have to, again coming on to the same point, you have to be just mindful of what is there on your plate.
Right.
And the portion control.
Right. And these days in urban India and across the world, I mean, mental health is quite a big issue, anxiety and other things. And how is nutrition connected to that? If somebody is more anxious, are they more gravitated towards, junk food? And if they are, what they should do about it?
Okay, so food is emotion. Food is your physical need. Food is your soul. Okay, so food is a holistic approach. Okay, so if we are talking about nutrition, okay, so if we talk about holistically, so holistically, okay, what is holistic health? Holistic health will include emotion, emotional health, your physical health, your mental health, your social health and your spiritual health. कोई भी एक चीज गड़बड़ होगी, so definitely दूसरी चीज पे डिफरेंस आएगा. But if I talk about food, food is the basics for all. Okay, for example, कि आप को कहीं स्टेज परफॉर्मेंस देनी है या एग्जाम्स होते हैं या कुछ ऐसा है, ओके, सो क्या फील होता है, तो आप कैसा करते हैं, थोड़ा एंजाइटी होने लगती है. ओके, सो ईदर यू रश टू द वॉशरूम्स, okay, or you get constipated. Okay, so that means कहीं ना कहीं आपके इमोशंस जो हैं आपके आउटसाइड वर्ल्ड से रिलेटेड है. ओके, सिमिलरली जो आप फूड जो है, अगर आप अच्छा फूड खा रहे हो, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर जैसे हमने मीठे की बात की थी, सो मीठा क्या करता है, ओके, इट गिव यू अ डोपामाइन इफेक्ट. ओके, तो जब आप अच्छा फूड खाते हो, ओके, सो यू विल फील हेल्दी. जब आप हेल्दी फील करोगे तो फिर आप इरिटेटेड क्यों फील करोगे? ओके, आप स्लीप डिप्राइव्ड हो, ओके, ऑफ कोर्स दैट इज अगेन अ मेजर इशू के जो कि वर्क नहीं करता है. तभी पहले जमाने में बोला जाता था कि खुश होकर खाना खाओ, चिड़चिड़ करके खाना खाओगे तो खाना नहीं लगेगा, बिकॉज दिस फूड इज नरिशमेंट फॉर एवरीथिंग. ओके, इट नरिशेस योर सोल, इट नरिशेस योर इमोशंस आल्सो. अभी कहीं पार्टी होती, कुछ भी अच्छा होता है तो आप क्या बोलते हो, चलो अच्छी जगह चल के खाना खाते हैं, राइट? या आप बहुत सैड होते हो तो आपका कई बार खाने का मन नहीं करता है, और यू डू एन इमोशनल ईटिंग. सो फूड इज एक्चुअली रिलेटेड टू ईच एंड एवरी एस्पेक्ट. सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, if you eat food the way it has to be, the natural form of course, and the way it is to be made, rather than आप emotional eating कर रहे हो, बहुत ज़्यादा आपने sugars ले लिया, उस समय आपका mood better हो गया, spike हो गया, उतनी जल्दी वो down भी होता है. Okay, you feel more depressed then later, then you have a more need of it. Okay, like a substance abuse, right? फिर आप उसे खाओगे, so it's a vicious circle.
Correct. And having a good lifestyle also depends upon where you are, right? Say, so I want to ask you, like, how should schools, colleges, workplaces, overall government and other, related people should help promote nutrition, better nutrition?
Okay. If you start early, nothing good than that. So for the schools, I would say that they should start teaching. Kids today are very smart and intelligent. Okay, they're smarter than us, than we were at their age. So start introducing nutrition in quite an early age. Okay, you need to tell them what is good, what is bad for your health, and they actually follow it. And moreover, they follow what they see rather not what they are told. Okay, so if at the home you are following a junk food culture and you're expecting your kids to have vegetables, it's not working. right? Okay. Moreover, the cafeterias, they have to have the option of having the health foods, okay, healthy foods. So I have been to many schools and I have been to many corporates also, okay, for the talks. So on a one side they're calling a nutritionist for a talk, और जब हम वहाँ पे खाते हैं उनकी कैफेटेरिया में, it's all about junk food. समोसास होंगे या आपका पेस्ट्रीज होगा जंक फूड में, या आपके पैटीज होंगे, तो यही सारी चीजें अवेलेबल होती हैं. तो आई कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर का अगर हम एग्जाम्पल लें, जो इंसान सुबह से रात तक एक ही जगह बैठ के काम कर रहा है, उसके पास इतना भी टाइम नहीं है कि वो अपने लिए घर से खाना ला पाए, या इन बिटवीन अगर उसे भूख लगती है तो वो नियरेस्ट क्या होगा, अपने कैफेटेरिया ही तो जाएगा. तो कैफेटेरिया में अब वो चाहेगा भी कि वो हेल्दी खा ले, तो वो कैसे खाएगा जब सामने ऑप्शंस ही नहीं है. Okay, so you need to keep some healthy stuff in your cafeterias rather than going for samosas and things like that. Okay, government have a very strong role, of course. They can have subsidies on junk foods more. Okay, that's how they can help. They can help more of things like a campaign or something to make people understand what wellness is and how it works. Okay, so though our government is actually working on it these days, and so people are getting more and more aware of it, but the availability of the food, the junk food is very easy these days. पहले में हम महीने में एक बार बाहर जाते होंगे and we eat outside food. Okay. अब तो स्विगी है, जोमेटो है, बस इट्स लाइक अ क्लिक अवे
बटन. या
एंड आजकल के बच्चे, आई एम मोर कंसर्न्ड अबाउट द किड्स दीस डेज, क्योंकि द पॉपुलेशन जो बच्चों की है, व्हेन दे आर एक्चुअली डेवलपिंग, it's not the nourishment that is going inside, it's more of the junk that is going inside.
Right. And obviously there is a lot of content out there. A lot of people make, health related content, food related content. So can you also advise our viewers like what to follow, what not to follow?
I would say don't listen to the noise.
Yeah.
If there's too much of it, you will get confused. You don't know what to follow. For example, कोई भी एक चीज आती है, उसको इतना ज्यादा स्ट्रेच हो जाता है. आजकल I was seeing कि गोंद कतीरा का एक शुरू हो गया कि everyone is talking about गोंद कतीरा, everyone is talking about गोंद कतीरा, कि गर्मियों में लेना चाहिए, इसके ये बेनिफिट्स होते हैं, वो आपके स्किन के लिए अच्छा है, फाइबर्स उसमें बहुत ज्यादा है, कूलिंग प्रॉपर्टीज है, but उसके harmful effects भी हैं. So listen to your gut. What is important? Your body will tell you what is right for you. Okay, don't blindly follow anyone. Okay, start with your plate at home. जो घर का खाना है वही बेस्ट खाना है, आपको उसको ही खाना है, and बाकी तो शोर चलता रहेगा. Okay, so I try to basically educate patients. Okay. कोई हॉस्पिटल में नहीं कहता कि आपसे मिलके खुशी हुई, आप वापस आइए. ओके, हॉस्पिटल एंड हॉस्पिटैलिटी इज क्वाइट अ डिफरेंट फील्ड. ओके, नो वन वांट्स कि कोई हॉस्पिटल वापस आए. सो वी ट्राई टू एजुकेट पेशेंट्स कि व्हेन दे आर मेकिंग देयर चॉइसेस, दे आर कॉन्फिडेंट इनफ टू मेक देयर चॉइसेस. ओके, जिससे कि जो भी ये कोई भी न्यू ट्रेंड कल आ गया तो दे डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज विद दैट. ओके, सो देयर इज अ बेसिक थिंग जो सबको पता होनी चाहिए. अब आप डाइटिशियन या किसी का भी डाइट चार्ट देखोगे, इवन हम भी जब देते हैं तो उसमें ग्राम्स लिखे रहते हैं. अब प्रैक्टिकली पॉसिबल नहीं है हर इंसान के कि वो ग्राम के हिसाब से खाना खाए. सो देयर आर सिंपल थिंग्स जो आपने हैंड रूल बना रखे हैं, सो दैट यू कैन फॉलो. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आपको दिन में 2 से 3 फ्रूट्स खाने हैं, तो एक फ्रूट की सर्विंग आप कैसे देख सकते हो? तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल एप्पल है, तो इतने साइज का जो एप्पल होगा, दैट वुड बी 1 सर्विंग. ओके, अगर हम बेरीज की बात करते हैं तो जितना आपके एक इसमें आ जाए, दैट वुड बी 1 सर्विंग. सो दैट्स अ बेसिक थिंग. बेसिक रूल. अगर आप बात करते हो मिल्क की या मिल्क प्रोडक्ट्स की, सो अगर आप ऐसे करोगे तो जितना ये आएगा आपका मेजरमेंट, ओके, दिस इज अप्रोक्सीमेटली 1 सर्विंग. और अगर उसका विड्थ देखोगे तो विड्थ अगर इतनी आ जाए आपके हाथ में रखे, जो भी आपके घर का नॉर्मल कप्स होंगे, ग्लासेस होंगे, उनके साइजेस के हिसाब से, सो दैट वुड बी 1 सर्विंग. ओके, इफ वी टॉक अबाउट सीरियल्स, ग्रेन्स, चाहे वो आपके चावल है, चाहे आपका अनाज हो गया, रागी हो गया, कि कोई भी ऐसा दलिया हो गया, तो 1 सर्विंग विल बी 1 मुट्ठी. 1 fist is 1 serving. Okay, so that is how it is very easy. If we talk about fats, so this is 1 teaspoon. This is 1 tablespoon.
Right.
Okay, so these are easier things जो कि इंसान अंदाजे से भी कर सकता है अपने. So you don't have a kitchen weighing scale for it. You don't require it for that.
So ballpark इससे पता चल जाता है कि कितना.
Approximation काफी है. Body is very intelligent. अगर थोड़ा बहुत ज्यादा हो भी गया, they will adjust. But problem होती है वो थोड़ा बहुत नहीं होता, वो daily होता है और बहुत ज्यादा हो जाता है.
Consistently होता रहता है over a period of time. What is the relation between beauty and wellness and clinical nutrition?
Okay, so clinical nutrition, now it is for treating and healing the patients. Okay, more of it. And if I talk about beauty and wellness, it's more about wellness. It's more about what you eat. Okay, and it like beautiful inside out. Okay. So here we are actually empowerment. It's about empowerment. It's about all the vocational courses and making people actually aware of the wellness part and how they can actually take wellness as the integral part of their life and the lifestyle.
Okay. And how do you see the future of nutrition, diets in the next, say 5 to 10 years, where, we have things like AI and other technologies, social media, so many things, right? So how do you see the future of this entire space?
Future is quite bright. Okay, because thankful what we have done to our bodies. Okay, we have so many diseases, we have so many metabolic disorders. Definitely, we will end up going to the nutritionist. Okay, one thing. Secondly, people are getting more aware of it now. Okay, अच्छा होता है एक टाइम आता है. Okay, so एक टाइम था जब बहुत ज़्यादा गड़बड़ हो गई है, अभी भी चल रही है. But people are getting more and more aware. Maybe because of one thing is because of the AI and the social media also. Okay, so definitely people will be getting more aware of it and they want to go to a nutritionist. The future is of course very bright. If someone wants to take up this course, definitely they can, but they need to make sure they have to be quite passionate about this job. There's a continuous research and knowledge that is going on. So you need to keep yourself updated with the latest research and the knowledge so that you don't go wrong. Okay, don't mix noise with the science.
Right.
It has to be a scientific based.
Right.
Not only.
And for all people who are budding nutritionists, any practical advice for them?
Well, I don't know whether you need to take it there or not, but nutritionists in India are not well paid. Okay, forget a small population. Okay, they are not well paid. So if you are only passionate about it, okay, go for it. Okay, if you are actually, because the satisfaction and the gratitude you receive from the patients and from the people after healing them, okay, that is commendable. Nothing compares to it. Okay, but if you are just doing it because you want to earn more money, okay,
that might not be the case.
That will not be there for sure.
Unless you're a social media
Maybe with
influencer.
time the things are changing and still in the process, but the present scenario is that though it has changed from last 20 years I have seen, but it's still a long way to go.
Right. Thank you so much for so much enlightenment.
They have to be a good counselor.
Okay.
If they are not a good counselor, they will, whatever they say, it will not impact their patients or the individuals and they won't follow it. It's not easy for a person, for a nutritionist, to make person understand and to start with it कि अच्छा 2 हफ्ते तो ट्राई करके देखिए. तो उस पॉइंट पे लेकर आना कि आप 2 हफ्ते तो ट्राई करके देखिए, it's a fight. It's a fight. So क्योंकि 2 हफ्ते में आपका एक आदत बन जाती है and then within 2 weeks ही आप अपने जब changes देखना शुरू करते हो, then you start following it. Okay, और फिर धीरे धीरे करके, that's what I told you, it's a long process. It's not a one consultation process.
Right. It's a continuous relationship with the patient, right? That helps. We have the next section is a rapid fire, so let's do that. Hope it's going to be fun for you. Vegetarians cannot have high cholesterol.
False.
Low sodium salt is better.
Not really. For a shorter period of time, it's fine. But if you're taking it for a longer period of time, most of the low sodium have high potassium. So they impact the cardiac muscles also. Not a very good thing.
Fats are bad for health.
No, not at all.
You need supplements to lose weight.
No.
High protein diets are best and only way to lose weight.
No,
Food intolerance test will diagnose my gut issues.
not always.
Okay. Food can soak up alcohol.
Never ever.
I'm not going to ask you your thoughts about alcohol. I know what they will be. Skipping breakfast or skipping meals can reduce weight.
Never.
Alcohol is the only cause of liver damage and cirrhosis.
No, there's one thing called non-alcoholic liver disease. So it is majorly because of the fats and sugars.
Yeah.
Okay, so not
Yeah.
true.
Natural sugar like honey is better than white sugar.
Of course it is. It has trace elements, but ultimately it will do the same harm to your body as the sugar.
Yeah. Before I say bye to our audiences, do you have any message for people viewing?
Start nourishing your body at early age and enjoy your food. Enjoy the healthy food.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, doctor.